Welcome to Taming the Three Dragons. Good evening. My name is Bindi Rajasegharan, and I'm the current governor for Rotary District 3300 Malaysia. Firstly, my sincere gratitude to the Rotary Club of Nilai, the Malaysian Positive Psychology Association, and the Brahma Kumaris Malaysia for highlighting this course on mental well-being. Every person is important, every life is important, and life is very precious. We are not only training school, college, and university counselors, but also enhancing the support system for them in the sense educating parents and peers. It's very important that youth feel a strong support system around them. So when one has any of these feelings of worry, fear, and doubt, he or she has a safety net of counselors, parents, peers, and friends who they can approach and, more importantly, listen to them. This is very essential in addressing these issues of mental well-being in youth and raising their confidence levels. Thank you.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, dear friends from all over the world. First of all, welcome to this evening's program, Taming the Three Dragons, Worry, Doubt, and Fear. I'm Sharon, your MC for tonight. Thank you so much for being here. And it's such a beautiful scene to see so many new faces amongst us. And I'm wondering, what brings you to this program? Is it because that the three dragons look so fantastical that you imagine yourself to be the dragon slayer? Or is it worry, doubt, and fear are negative traits that you want to overcome it? Or have you been captivated by the gorgeous good looks of our two speakers, Dr. Murali and Mr. Jean Kok, wondering what they have to offer? Well, whatever the reasons, we are glad you are here with us tonight. So this program is a collaborative efforts of three organizations: Brahma Kumaris Malaysia, Malaysia Positive Psychology Association, and Rotary Club of Nilai Central. We believe that by recognizing and using our creative energy, we would be able to transform negativity into opportunities for the change of better. And I'm sure you will find methods and tips in this program. Our two speakers will explain to us about why we have the habits of worry, fear, and doubt, and how to overcome to this challenge. So before I bring on the speakers, let me welcome and introduce Ms. Amuta Amir Talingam. Ms. Amuta is the moderator for tonight. She's an educator and she's been working very closely with young adults and teenagers for the past 30 years in Malaysia and Singapore. And she believes strongly in the power of the youth. She feels that with encouragement and empowerment, youth could change the world. And so she hopes that after tonight's program, youth would be able to tame the dragon, as well as riding on the dragon towards fulfilling their dreams and aspirations. So, Ms. Amuta, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sharon. Good evening and greetings of peace. In Asia, the dragon is believed to represent power, fearlessness, confidence, enthusiasm, intelligence, excellence, determination, dignity, and divinity. A dragon is also believed to have the power to overcome obstacles and bring about success. Interestingly, all of us have these qualities within us. Unfortunately, they seem to be overpowered by these negative forces in the form of doubt, fear, and worry that weaken the mind and causing obstacles in our effort to attain success. So to share with us some ways on how we can regain these empowering qualities, we have with us these two amazing gentlemen. We'll begin with Mr. Jean Koch, the Executive Committee of Malaysia Positive Psychology Association, MPPA. He's actually trained as an engineer, but during my earlier conversation with him, something very interesting clicked. He was sharing that he had made a switch in career. And it was at a time when there was some kind of a financial crisis in our country. That was a time when he opted to start a company when many other companies were closing down. It was very interesting. So that would be our first question for Mr. Jean later. So please stay on. Let's see what made him come up with that bold decision. And he's also a certified instructor for Professor John Cotter's Change Essentials and Sean Anker's Happiness Advantage. He has helped various organizations, including Fortune 500 companies, to think, innovate, and navigate through the lens of positivity. His 13 years of experience has led him to believe that when we have the right mindset, combined with a thinking framework and proven structures, change can be positive, engaging, and act as a springboard for growth. And just like you and I, what does he do when he winds down at the end of the day? He enjoys working out, he meditates, and also to give his British short-haired cat a belly rub. So welcome, Mr. Jean.
Hello.
Next, we have Associate Professor IR, Dr. Muralindran Mariappan. He is a head of robotics and intelligent systems at the Faculty of Engineering, University Malaysia Sabah, master lead trainer and expert consultant for minimalist educational robotics and applications, psycho-spiritual therapy competency master trainer, and certified trainer for Human Resource Development Fund. And, very interesting point, Dr. Murali also holds the 2020 World Book of Record for organizing international coding competition. And in the year 2015, he won the International Invention of the Year Platinum Award for the British Invention Show in London. And just like Mr. Jean, Dr. Murali spends his free time practicing meditation, teaching meditation, and giving back to society in every way he can. Welcome, Dr. Murali. Thank you for being with us this evening. And ladies and gentlemen, let's tame some dragons now. We'll get straight to the point. Mr. Jean, this is for you.
Right.
So you remind me of these words that never let a good crisis go to waste. You started a company at a time when there were financial crises in this country and many companies were shutting down. That is a very daring move. What made you do it?
Actually, it's very interesting that you asked this question because many people equate that when the times are bad in the whole country, that the times is bad for me, but it's further from the truth. For very long, I always have a mentor in different areas of my life. And what my mentor told me is that, one is the world economy, one is your economy. So you have to take care of it yourself. But speaking of which, at that point in time, the real reason why I started this out was because at that point in time, I had close to the end of my career as an engineer. I was working with a Fortune 500 company, all right, in Malaysia. It's a big organization, and the interesting thing was that I remember 2 months before I resigned, I was given a good increment. For the past 3 years before I resigned, I received double-digit increments. So it was really, really good. And I knew that if I had stayed a bit further, it'd be a little bit too hard for me to leave. A little bit too hard for me to leave. So at that point in time, I recall I had to have, in a moment when I started to notice there's a downturn, I started to notice that, if I were to take this opportunity to venture into something which I really want, in the worst case of scenario, right, then, in the downturn, maybe there won't be any increment anyway. So I could simply just go ahead and try it. But a lot of the interesting findings of what I found was that big companies are found during the downturn. In fact, the biggest growth that we had in the past 10 years happened in the past 1 year during the crisis in year 2020 to 2021. So we started to expand. We in fact double our workforce in this period in time. So I guess the idea is not so much on what's happening out there, but really scanning for opportunity that is really in front of us, that sometimes eludes us if we don't look really hard and to find it. So I believe that in each one of us, we do have that opportunity. Sometimes the thing is that we get too engrossed with the news and the information that is given to us instead of using our intellect, which is God-given, for us to scan for what are the good things that's already present over here in the midst of the adversity. Just what you mentioned, right? Never let a good crisis go into waste, right? Isn't it?
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you, Mr. G. All right, Dr. Murali, there seems to be quite a change in your professional scenario too. So you used to have face-to-face interaction with your students, and then now it's all virtual learning. Students are behind the screen. So how do you find this new norm?
Yeah, it's a very appropriate and interesting question for me because I'm very close to students. And initially, I feel that I've spoken to some of them and they feel very difficult to begin with. But slowly it became norm for them. The only drawback is that they lost the touch of teamwork and socializing. Because you see, when they are in campus, they can actually meet with each other and be roommates or cellmates instead of Facebook friends like now. Imagine the first year students they completed the first year without going to the university, all virtual. So also another aspect that we need to understand is that they initially found that they lost concentration. They cannot concentrate because in the class you're forced to sit in front of a lecturer. Now you can just off the camera and just do whatever you want or sleep. And also the practical exposure, lack of practical exposure. But the advantage is that they can learn on their own pace. That's the best part. Because they can repeat the lectures, they can get other sources. But for me personally, if I were to teach face-to-face, the only thing I can see is that when you see them face-to-face, you can actually understand whether they understood what you're teaching or not, and you can give them personal attention. I had an opportunity to go to the university and had a short lecture after so many years of lockdown. For that 1-2 weeks, we had an opportunity, but I could see on their face a shock because for 1 year, they have not been in lecture, and suddenly they are in lecture and it's a very different feeling. Even I felt very enthusiastic at that time, empowered to teach them face-to-face, but I'm looking forward for that.
So, Dr. Murali, I still remember during our days, the first day you step into the university, you walk through the gates and how inspiring, there's so much of excitement, so much of enthusiasm. So these students are missing that experience, but they are also what we call the digital natives. They seem to be very comfortable using their personal devices. They feel very comfortable wanting to learn using that personal devices that they have. So do you think they are actually at a loss when it comes to learning?
No, it's an advantage for them. During our days, we hardly had any digital, but now all are digital babies. they are born with smartphones in their hand, actually. So, those days, our grandparents, they were working for survival, and then maybe our parents, they are working for, what do you call that, to have a good life, to balance life, to build up for us. But now this generation, they are looking for quality of life. They have everything already, They can go anywhere and work because the parents have all the facilities for them. Now they just need to get themselves adapted with the new technology and move forward. They're already there. It's just that they have a lot of choices now. It's good for them.
Yeah, very interesting, Dr. Murali, because my next question is for Mr. Jean, and very much based on what you just said. You see, we are aware, Mr. Jean, of the present situation. So we know that some of us, we've got jobs and we're holding on to these jobs. And then some of them are still looking, they're job seekers. They're trying to get a job that they're trained for. So they do have little struggle along the way. But what is actually the real situation out there? Do you think they are actually managing it quite well, based on like what Dr. Murali just said? They are able to adjust. Do you think they are actually able to adjust, managing so far?
Actually, Ms. Amuta, actually it's very hard for me to tell because I don't work too much with youth, but sometimes I do. I have the opportunity to see. And I can't say the same for every single person out there because it will be generalizing or stereotypically the situation over here. But I can say that there are a lot of opportunities that many people don't see, right? In Malaysia, you could say that, oh, we don't have a job. But you think about it, right? Our world has become so open. We are basically digital nomads right now. People are hiring across borders right now. If you notice, I know personally a couple of people that are being hired from other countries and they are based in Malaysia, right? And if you think that basically in the downturn, then in the COVID scenario, the salary should be going downwards, it's not really true for every part of the world, If you were to check out news in the US, right? The banking line, the financial services industry, they're finding it really, really hard to find fresh graduates. So much so that they have increased their salary at least by 17% to be able to hire people because they cannot find the talents. So you think about it, I do agree, that there is a lot of challenge, right? What essentially this kind of showed to us is that it also shows to us that within that, there are certain people who are actually profiting from this crisis, isn't it? So it is important for us to be able to expand our thinking. If you were to use the same solution, the same knowledge, the same way that we used to work in the past, then you may be struggling, right? If you adapt, if you take the challenge to relearn the world that we are in right now, then I would say that basically it will ease your journey a little bit, okay? I don't say that it's easy because it wasn't easy for me, and going through the challenge of COVID back in 2020 on the 18th of March when the Prime Minister announced the lockdown, the first MCO. I was prepared, I must say, because being in my line as head of a company, I am prepared. I did have savings. I did look ahead at Wuhan earlier and did make my preparation. But when the lockdown actually happened, it's a bit like what Mike Tyson said. You can do all your planning with one punch to your face and then suddenly all your plans just go away. And that's exactly what happened to me. The few days into that, I had a chat with my friend, and some of them are really successful people that I look forward to, which have businesses which are 100 times bigger than me, right? At least. I don't even know how much these people, the resource of knowledge and expertise that they have access. And one of them actually said to me, Jin, in the so many years or so many times we've gone through recession, I've never encountered something like this ever before. So much so that I'm thinking about shutting down my business and reserve all my capital. You mean you're going to lay off everyone? Yes, I'm thinking about that right now. And that kind of shook me, who am I, this little chiku, and then this sifu out there is telling me that, and then I have to really think about it, right, isn't it? So in that moment in time, right, all your assumptions and your knowledge will be thrown out the window. So you now need to use not based on your memory alone. You need to analyze your memory. You need to look for new information. And then you need to reintegrate that and make a choice that you've not done before, right? If you're ever going to survive. So anyway, the short story for that one, in case you're wondering, is I didn't close down my company. In fact, we bootstrapped, and then I find that actually my team is so supportive for me to continue to grow. And then I'm thankful because of that choice that I made, that when the opportunity came, we were prepared. And that was the reason why I can expand my company until now, right? Was it easy? No, because all the preparation I made before Wuhan, during the Wuhan crisis, I did my calculation. I said that how many months I can survive without any business. I don't have to lay off. I don't have to do anything. But in truth, when the crisis struck, then I was thinking, oh my God, all my prediction models all wrong. All my calculation, I thought that basically my cost saving I'm supposed to have this much. Actually, there are more costs than I thought, right? Then I predicted, and it was really thrown outside the window. We just really need to rethink. Every single time we have new information, need to rethink and be able to seek out experts. What used to be the old expert may not be a real expert anymore. Maybe, you know what, I'm not an expert over here. You should seek out more information out there. You should learn from learned people, and you should learn from people who are learning, in fact, right? Isn't it? So that's the thing, what I believe, just to connect to Amuta, is that I believe a lot of them are doing okay. They are doing the best they can. And that is really, really good. I do find that there are certain other people who are doing much better than others. So that's why when people say, if you want to be average, study average. If you want to be excellent, study excellent. So seek out for those people who really can and also are thriving right now in this current moment. And you know what? Seek out their help. Right.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jin. So two things. One is to relearn and look for the right information.
Right.
Okay, thank you. All right, Dr. Murali. We've got questions from viewers, right? So let me just ask you this before we go to your next question. This is from the viewer. Why are we afraid of everything? I ask this because what I'm afraid of happening actually happens all the time. This is a question from a viewer.
Okay, very interesting question.
Yes.
Yeah, because we actually really need to understand that we are actually creating things in our mind. Our mind, when the thoughts are being created, that is actually being translated. First, you start with the thought, then it becomes your words, then it becomes your action, then it becomes your habit, then it becomes your character, then your character actually decides your destiny. So everything actually starts from our thoughts. So our thoughts are very, very powerful. So whether you are right or you can or you cannot, either way you are right. Whether you are thinking negative or positive, both things will happen to you. So now the key is that I have the choice because I'm the one who's thinking. So if I can create thoughts that are positive, then what I will get is the negative positive result. But if my thoughts are negative, I'm actually reaping the fruit of negativity. So the key aspect here is I need to pay attention to every single thought that I create. I need to make sure that I do something about it and I switch it from negative to positive.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Murali. Your next question is very much pertaining to that. So are negative thoughts and feelings expected during these times? Are such negative thoughts and feelings is expected to be during these critical times? Is it normal to have such feelings?
Yes, because the situation and circumstances are such, and it's okay because we are basically, Ms. Amuda, we are here, we are listening to a lot of stories. We are watching videos, we are watching YouTube, we are watching news, we are seeing what's actually happening in this physical world. Okay, of course, sensational news makes it look very attractive, and plus all the COVID situation, political situation, and whatever, economical situation. So all these things are happening. So when you have this type of thoughts, because we must understand this, thoughts are created. How thoughts are created? Because you see, whenever I'm engaging my five sense organs, my eyes, my ears, my body. So thoughts can be created from whatever I see. Number one. Number two, thoughts can be created from my past memories. And thoughts can also be created from the atmosphere, the vibration, or the energy around me. This feeling can become the source to create the source. So it's very important for me to understand.
Okay, so I understand that. However, so the following question is it okay for me to release these emotions, show these feelings, or should I just keep them within me because I don't want people to take advantage of my weakness?
Yes, I think it's very important to release and be light. But no, there's a very important aspect. It has to be done properly so that you don't backfire. Sometimes people feel very reserved. They don't want to share anything. Maybe it's we have an Asian culture of we like to suppress things. Sometimes when you ask people, how are you? They say, everything is good, I'm okay. They put a plastic smile. But then suddenly they basically bottle up. That can actually cause an issue, health issue actually. And this can come up, can germinate or can produce sudden disease. And that's why we sometimes hear people are perfectly healthy in this world and suddenly they get sick and say, wow, what happened? So we need to actually make sure that we do it properly, because we need to understand that, counseling facilities are available. Sometimes you must have good close friends where you can open up and share your feelings. You just to open up and to share it itself is actually will reduce the pressure, inside you. Basically, actually, I have something to share with you all.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I want to share this slide. I think maybe this will give a very good term. Okay. So now the first one, this is the pressure equation. Okay. So we need to understand, like this feeling, this thought that's building up. We have a lot of pressure in our life, or life challenges. Everybody goes through challenges, right? Now these challenges are actually, you can equate it, external influence over internal strength. So what is external influence? Now these are things that's beyond my control. Now I cannot control the lockdown. I cannot tell the Prime Minister to say open up, close. No, I cannot do that. No, it's beyond my control, right? But internal strength is within my control. This is something that we really need to pay attention. Why? Because when the external influences increases, what will happen to pressure? The pressure will increase. Okay. Just to give you an example, I'm just going to show you some graphs. This is an example only. See, every individual is very different. No, everybody can handle pressure in a very different percentage, right? Like you know, when your pressure maybe for person individual X, his benchmark his level is 50%. Once he reach the pressure 50%, he'll become stressed, right? Now, when a person is stressed, definitely they really need to release it. No, they need to de-stress. So some prefer to go for counseling. But when this is not being paid attention to, when the pressure goes up to maybe 70% for that particular individual, then they go into depression. Now, when you are in depression, definitely you need some therapy. You need to go and meet a psychologist and you need some therapy. But if that is also not paid attention to, then when you reach 90 or above that, then that person can become mentally ill. Then definitely you need to take medicine. You need to go and meet a psychiatrist. So what actually happens? When you pay attention to these internal strengths, then your life pressure actually reduces. Now, when this happens, there's a shift in your percentage, your threshold. No? That means you will be able to actually manage more percentage of pressure before you become stressed. That means for a normal person, 50 can become stressed, but for you, 50 is okay. You are just nice. But once you reach 70, then you have a stress reduction. But so how to increase this? Your positive lifestyle, your healthy lifestyle, or practice of meditation can actually help you to increase this threshold. And this is extremely necessary for current time. This is actually how I see it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Murali. Right, Mr. Jin, over to you now. How do you think young adults, how do they cope with stress and the demands of this rapidly changing world? Especially like we were talking about planning things well, go and relearn and then get information. So now I'm in the process of doing all that. I make sure I plan, I prepare, I'm willing to change. However, things happen suddenly. So during that time, I'm unprepared. So what do you think youth, young adults can do at that time?
Can you help me to repeat that again? What's your question?
Yeah. How do young adults cope with stress and the demands of the rapidly changing world?
Thank you so much, Ms. Amuta. So it's very interesting. How do young people cope? Personally, I think there are so many ways that people are doing it out there, but many a times they do it without the guidance of people who sometimes who have gone through more, right? So I see that a lot of young adults, they go into things which are sometimes almost unhealthy, right? Like binge watching Netflix, and whatsoever. To a certain extent, it's great to relax. You ask them, what do you want to do? I want to relax lah. Just give me some time to chill. You ask your kids or people around, give me time to chill. I want to relax, right? I think to a certain extent, it's good for you to have your mental space to do things that you enjoy is great. At the same time, if given an opportunity for these young adults to expand on their so-called array of solutions that they can do to manage themselves, then I would recommend that they try to change a couple of things. They can change their physiology, means that when let's say, for example, if you are in your home, every single day you start to, when you type, it's basically your shoulder go in front, your head goes down. Now tell me, when you do that, right, what happens to your breathing? Is it breathing normally or you go a bit lower? So if you try to bend your body down, hard to breathe, isn't it? So with that, you reduce the oxygen level, then your mind cannot work as well, right? And then you start to act when, these are the moments that if you look at depressed people, they are like that. They're not like this, they're not like that. So change your physiology. What you can do, learn up and do exercises, change your physiology, right? Isn't it? Simple things that you can do, have a good rest. Are you having your 6-7 hours of sleep, right? Isn't it? Are you having a balanced diet? That's the most basic thing you can do in the fundamental. If you have a bit more in terms of your plate, then basically what you can do is that you can pick up what Dr. Murali is talking about, meditation, right? It's a great way for you to be present in this moment. In fact, all the worry that you're talking about, worry, fear, all this come because you are not present in the moment. Because if you can only worry if you're only thinking about the future, right? You cannot be in the present and worry. It's impossible, right? You can only be worried if you're thinking about the future, right? So maybe you want to just balance a little bit of like that. Just have a moment, take a deep breath, change your physiology, move a bit, and then maybe even have a conversation with new people that opens up your mind. Like, for example, like this talk is excellent, right? For them to change their perspective, right? So when you come into that new space, then in that moment itself, you will find that actually you will have a different kind of emotion because you have different kind of focus, right? Just like what Dr. Muli was mentioning about. So you change your thoughts from negative to positive. So essentially what you are doing is you're changing your focus. So whatever you focus on expands. So reconnecting back to the question earlier. So all you fear about, all you think about is fear-based kind of thoughts. So what happens is that your mind is stuck at fear. You will look through the lens of fear, whatever it happens. So when you wear that lens over some time, it's like a spectacle and you completely forgot about it, because it's so comfortable. You feel so comfortable with the spectacle, then you forgot, hey, actually I'm wearing a spectacle. And that spectacle, that lens is already has a tint, fear. So you look around, everything happens and say, you know what, I fear this thing and this thing happened. Isn't it? Yeah. Sometimes you need to take off your specs. Right? Taking out the specs sometimes could be being present. Sometimes when you ask someone to go and meditate and do all kind of things, sometimes it's like, hey, I'm a gamer, I'm a Netflix binger, you want me to go and start, it's a little bit something tall there, but there are simple things you can do. Just attend a talk, listen, change your perspective, move around, exercise, have a good conversation with positive people, right? So these are some of the things that you could possibly do as young adults to cope with this thing. But if you guys are more willing to explore this other realm, all right, where people consciously take care of their mind, take care of their well-being, then you start to be able to discover that you have stronger internal capacity, like what Dr. Muli said. So when you have stronger internal capacity, things that happen outside doesn't hurt you so much. You are still grounded, you're still centered, right? That would be the one of the greatest gifts you can have. In fact, you start to talk about leaders. Some people want to start their own business, right? So if you start to find that those great leaders, right, they are not shaken as easily. They are very centered, right? It's as if, right, if there is the world is shaking, if there's a lot of like thunderstorms, or maybe heat from the sun, you start to imagine people go to the stronger, safest tree, right? Where where you feel safe. And this is where a leader is. So how does a leader become that strong pillar for people? By building themselves, right? Isn't it? Just like what Dr. Muli said, is building the internal strength is so important, right? There are so many ways to go about that. So we'll try to go to something basic first, right, for the viewers here.
Very interesting point, Mr. Jin, you shared about to live in the present more, instead of thinking about the future so much. Just be in the present and then look around, see what you can do, what changes you can bring. It's a very interesting point. Mr. Jin, another question. We have about 500 viewers at this moment.
Hello.
Yep. Are you anxious and worried?
No, I'm excited.
Oh, wonderful. No wonder you're so calm and composed.
Thank you so much.
So, yeah, so I was just wondering, Dr. Murli, there are times when I face a challenge, I seem to be courageous. I seem to feel good about it. I want to do it. I take it as an inspiration. But there are other times I feel insecure. I feel anxious and worried. So what is actually happening within me? Is my mind playing a game? Maybe you can explain to us how our mind actually works, especially during challenging moments.
Yeah, thank you. Before we get to know what is happening, first we need to understand deeply about this mind game. Let's look into one aspect, fear. What Jean was explaining also about it. For me, personally, fear is about the existence of the self, or actually to the body. Sometimes, your physical body, you have fear that something will happen to this physical body, or to the people who you have so much dependency on, or to a material object that you are so dependent on that something happened to it. So it will just like make your existence vanish. You feel like that. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine that we are seriously injured. Okay? Definitely we will have fear. Agree? But if you go to the hospital, the doctor will not have any fear. Why? Why is it? Because the doctor knows the anatomy of the body. He knows how to put it right. He knows how it goes, how it works, how to heal, how to treat, how to make it okay. He knows from A to Z the anatomy of the body. And that's why the doctor has no fear. No matter how bad the person is, he can put it right. So now the question I would like to ask is, so do we know the anatomy of the cell? The cell, the living being in this physical body, do I know? Do I know how actually this living being, how actually am I thinking? No, my mind is thinking. And actually I'm deciding, I'm using my intellectual ability to decide. And I also have a lot of impressions, memories that I keep in my mind. So to have this knowledge and understanding of the self, it's actually, it is a tool, you know, to really eradicate all this fear that I have. If the more I get to know about myself, now then the more actually I will not have any fear. Imagine you just ask us to bring a gun in front of a Superman and shoot at him. He has no fear because he knows he's immortal. Same thing, if I know that I'm a living being in this physical body and I'm actually an immortal being, so nothing will happen to me. Now imagine that little bit of knowledge will remove all the other certain type of fear that I have. So this is something that we really need to understand. Then actually I can be very courageous.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Murali. So I need to know about the self, about this being. And unfortunately, they don't teach this in schools. And therefore, we don't know much about it. And therefore, we struggle. Where do you think I can get more information about this, Dr. Murali?
Yeah, normally when we learn about, like, you know, Jean was explaining, you know, you can also learn about meditation. You know, when you learn about meditation, the basic thing is that they will actually give you not only the practice of meditation, but meditation also comes with the knowledge as well. Because we need to have understanding about the self first before I can practice meditation. So if I can have the knowledge, then the knowledge is the tool for me to meditate on, to experience certain things in my life.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Murali. Mr. Jean.
Hey.
Yes, your turn now. Was there any time that was the darkest moment for you?
Darkest moment for me.
Yes, and can you share with us how you coped? Not so much with the details of the moment, but how did you cope that situation, that moment?
I guess I'll probably connect it back to what I shared with you, because at least there is continuity to what we were talking about. And one of the darkest moments I would think was at that moment that I was really, really uncertain when the MCO came, the lockdown came, and I wasn't sure, not only for myself, because if I had followed that businessman's advice, I would have had some amount of savings. You know, keeping all the money to myself, you know, all whatever that I saved for the past 13 years, I can keep it to myself. I have a bit of savings. I don't have to I can be more in control, right? But that's not me, right? That's not me. You know, when I go back to my team and connect with them, it brings me joy. And the furthest thing I want to do is to bring harm to my team. I want to be with them going through the challenge together. But there you go, you know, every single one of them, you know, have a role that they're playing. My role so happen to be the boss. You know, the boss has to take care of everyone, right? And then basically I have to plan. If, say, for example, if I don't have the company life enough, where do I take it up for? Is it from my own bank account? And how do I take care of my family? And at that moment, it was hard. When the first month of an MCO strike, you know, since the beginning of January, when COVID came about, companies which are mainly most of my customers are multinationals. So they have already been very careful. and or not organizing training. So if some of you know that basically I'm doing corporate training, right? So there's already reduction of training events, and in the end of January, early February, it was Chinese New Year. Normally it's a typically low season as well. And then coming to March, when the COVID cases start to rise, I start to see cases in Singapore increasing. And right now, basically, we are the champion. Back then was Singapore. So then people start to become afraid. And there was no training in March. There's no training in April. And, and I start to wonder, did I make the wrong decision?
So you had that doubt in you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Every single time, we are only human, Amuta.
Yeah.
Every single time that when fear, worry, and doubt comes to us, it's only human. But
I'm so glad you're saying that, because I want the viewers to know that the two of you are not superheroes. You are like us too. So at that moment, how did you cope? Yeah, that's so important.
Very interesting. At the end of the day, it's about the choice, isn't it? Because, yeah, I have doubts. I gained my strength from my team. My success today was because that they are together with me through this hardship. Who is your tribe? Is it your family? Is it your mom and dad? Is it your kids? Is it your girlfriend, boyfriend? Who is that? For some of you, your tribe could be bigger. It could be your community, right? So you need to find your strength. You need to find your motivation when times goes hard, because you know what, it is a choice for you not to do anything as well, and in the midst of difficulty, to make a hard choice sometimes, and that inside your heart that is the right thing to do, is not easy, right? And in that darkest moment, you need to be able to find your peace, and find your peace. Sometimes I'm trying to be practical, don't be too theoretical over here. So what I did was that there's practically in business, I was completely demolished and defeated by COVID, right? So practically demolished. No financial model can work. And there is no prediction what could happen in the future. No success cases. And engineering, you do not know where to start the engineering also, right? So what I did was that I tried to gain small amounts of confidence for myself. For me, I tried to get small victories, maybe waking up on time, cleaning up my bed, aiming for I bought exercise machine. I did my first victory was I cleaned up my house again, make sure I have a good place to work. Now everyone working from home, make sure that I feel good when I work. Clean it up, I buy certain things. I know you got to spend some more, but I have to, because I know this is an investment for myself. What I actually did was that I also bought exercise machines, dumbbells, bench press. So my little victories every single day is waking up every morning, going to my exercise machine and working out. And I feel good about it. Never had I had the opportunity to stay put in Klang Valley for so long. I will be traveling a lot because of my job. So I was like, wow, what great thing. I can be in full control of my time right now. So I start with a little bit of a victory. Then I want the team to feel a victory also. So I said, hey guys, we cannot serve the client, but can we do process improvement? Can we reduce costs? Can we increase efficiency? So it's like I will praise them and get them have victory as well, because sometimes a little bit of sense of control inside your space. You cannot control what's outside. You cannot control whether COVID will come and go. You cannot control, except that basically you just take care of yourself, social distance, then basically cover yourself with masks and everything else, use a sanitizer, but you cannot control that, whether it was going to be relaxed. Like right now, I don't know whether the current condition in terms of COVID will actually go down to a level whereby they'll go to phase 2 and phase 3 and phase 4, where I can do face-to-face training. In fact, I've not done the face-to-face training since beginning of last year. And then, you know what, Dr. Muli, I can connect with you. It's like, oh my God, this feels a bit strange, And right now I feel very comfortable doing training online, I must say. So much so that sometimes client was asking, Jean, if end of the year can do face-to-face, shall we do? I said, nah, you don't have to. We can do online as well. You start to learn to love the thing that you once despised. But I guess what I'm saying here is that what we can do when in the midst of that difficult moment is for us to find small victories. Okay, first gather strength. Look around you. What gives you resource, positive resource? Is it your emotions? Is it that basically you know you are capable? Is it because of your education? Is it because you know that you are young? Or is it because you know that you are wiser? Don't tell me you are not either one of them, right? You are either young or you are wiser, you have more, you have lived more, right? Or is it that because you have good friends? Is it because you have a strong family who will support you, accept you regardless of what? What do you think you have? You just need to create inventory. Sometimes when in doubt, you don't know what you have. When you start to list down all the good things that you start to have, with a sense of gratitude, you start to notice that, you know what? Wow, perhaps Jean or the folks out there, you are just more than just the problems that you see right now. Right? Perhaps you're just more than just the problems that you see right now. You are bigger than that, right? That gives you confidence. Then aim for the small victories that you can do daily. You know, for some of you cannot find a job. You know what? My small victory maybe is upgrade my resume, get a referral, put my resume up in JobStreet or LinkedIn. Maybe the next small victory is I will share it with all my group mates. You know, I will admit, you know, I don't have a job right now. Please connect me with someone. Maybe that will be the small victory. Focus on something and control, and that will give you more confidence, right?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Jin. Very,
Sure.
very true. We always seem to sort of like forget the small victories. And then I think most of the time we compare with the others. And then we have forgotten, you know, we've got some, you know, some wonderful stories too. But then, you know, we seem to be so overwhelmed by other people's success. Yeah, I think what you said is so
You know,
right.
very, very interesting one,
Yes.
Ms. Amuta, is that you talk about you have wonderful stories as well. Then I want you to scan in your experience, like what other tough setbacks that you have gone through and you have succeeded. Think about it. Was it easy when it happened? But once you have overcome it, do you remember how much confidence you get from it? So you need to be able to remember again all the hardship that you have overcome. That builds your resource, you know. No, you see, one of the things is that I've gone through so many hardships in the past. I know I can get through this. So that's how the mind works. It's like a table. Every belief is like a table. Why? On this, the belief itself is the tabletop, but every belief that you have must have an experience or memory that you have that forms the legs. You chop off the leg, then you will then you have weak belief. You have a lot of legs, then the belief will become very strong, right? So you need to have the belief that you can overcome this. And because you do have that memory, so you do have to scan for it. You need to have to think about what is it I overcome in the past before. That will give you the energy, right? That will give you the motivation for you to move forward.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that very important point. Right. Okay, Dr. Murali, you have a very, very interesting question, something quite deep, I think. Can you please explain how the mind works?
Sure. I like the question. So again, we need to understand few things. You know? Like what Jean was mentioning, you know, we all go through a lot of things in our lives. And of course, we know the mind can swing, you know, from positive to negative. Like what he was mentioning, the choice is ours, right? Either you can be in peace, or you can be in anger, or you can be in love, or you can have arrogance. You can have happiness, or you can have greed. All these things can happen. So the mind actually can be your best friend or your worst enemy. So this is something that maybe we have heard in the past. So you see, to understand how this mind works, I have something just want to share with you. It's like, you know, like just now when we were talking about this fear, it's about the existence of the self. for me, this doubt that comes, this aspect, this doubt that comes. This doubt actually, it is about the capability of the self. The capability of the self. Am I dependent on external things, or am I dependent on internal things? Example, like you go to school or university or whatever college, and if you want to excel in your studies, I'm an academician, that's why I can give this example. So you want to be a good student, you want to get A, how do you build up your self-confidence? But what do good students do? Good students, actually, they do their past year questions. They answer past year questions. Now, these past year questions will give them experience and confidence. Now, the exam they're going to sit may not be the same question, but past year questions experience will give you confidence. Now, in the same manner, I need to experience my original or innate qualities of the self. You'll ask, what is your innate quality? No, can you be angry for the whole day? No, it's not possible. But you can be peaceful the whole day. It's like you have a hot water, you boil the water and it's put on the table. It will go back to the original temperature of the room. That is your original temperature, you see. It will not stay 100 degrees forever. Same thing. Our original qualities, which we all like, which we all want, is peace, love, happiness, willpower. All these things are original qualities, the innate qualities that we are really yearning to get it. But the question is now, that am I experiencing it? So I need to actually pay attention to this. I need to experience the qualities from within myself. Because what is actually happening is that we are dependent on the outside trigger to give me that confidence. When somebody say, okay, Amuda, you are great, then you feel, wow, very nice. Then the same person can say, Amuda, then our self-respect can go down, you see. But if I have my internal, I have experienced my internal peace, internal love, internal happiness, then I can become the source that gives happiness, gives peace, or gives love. I was not dependent on anybody else to be the source to give me. See? So my self-respect, my capability, my capacity, it depends on me, not depends on other people. Because I'm not dependent on external situations. I'm solely dependent on what is coming from inside me. So this is what is very important. So this experience of this original quality, that's what we do when we meditate actually. We know that we are a living being, but we are a peaceful being. We are a peaceful person. No? We are a loving person. We are a happy person internally. So I really need to contemplate and experience that. Then I have these experiences. Now that will actually remove all the doubt and that I have actually. And it gives me more confidence. Imagine if I can really feel peaceful the whole day, whatever happens, I will still be peaceful and composed. Like what Jean was saying, like people go under the tree, when there's a big storm, right? They are just giants like that, you are unshakable, immovable. The same thing. If I can experience my original qualities, I will be unshakable, immovable. And everybody likes to go to a person who's peaceful, who's loving, who's happy, right? Because, what gives value, it's not the things that you do, no. It is the real living values that gives the value of the things that you're doing. If you can do things peacefully, that gives a lot of value. So why do people like us? People like somebody? Because this person is a very peaceful person. This person is a very loving person. This person is a very happy person, regardless what they do. So this will actually remove the doubt. It gives me so much of confidence over anything that happens. Okay?
Yeah, Dr. Murali, it's interesting when you talk about peace and happiness and all, but there are times, some of us, we don't really, perhaps we have experienced too many failures in life. You don't have the proper guide, from young. And then you find that it is difficult to really envision that happiness and that peace in me, because you find that the surrounding is not such that is going to make me feel that peace within me. And that's when I become so dependent on trying to get that peace and happiness from external sources. So for a beginner, for someone who has never really had that experience of peace and happiness, for a very, very beginning stage, what do you think the first thing I should do? How do I tap onto that peace and happiness that you say is within us? How do I tap onto it?
Very interesting question. Huh? How to start? If you want to learn how to read a book, first what you need to do? You need to know the alphabet, right? Same thing. I need to have the basic understanding about myself. For me, I really go back to the fundamentals. Everything boils down to yourself. Who you are, how you are, what's your origin. I need to have that spiritual understanding or basic knowledge, understanding about yourself. No, when people, they want peace, what they do? What do people do if they are very stressed out? They say, okay, let's go to the beach. I don't know nowadays people do that. Those days, yes, they go to the beach. Why? Because the ocean is very, very vast. The vibrations of the ocean is very, very clear and peaceful. Or they go to the forest. In those days, the sages and the holy men, they go to the forest. Why? The vibration in the forest is very neutral, very peaceful. So when you are there, actually the vibration helps you to become peaceful, right? So I no need to make extra additional effort, no? Imagine if you go to a place, or you go to the hospital and you want to be peaceful, no? I don't know. It's very challenging because the vibration is full of sorrow and fear and pain, no? So I need to bring myself to a place where the environment, the atmosphere is very peaceful. So that's the first thing I need to do, right? So of course now you cannot go anywhere, you have to sit at home, but create a space in yourself. That is what I personally see. Maybe a room or a corner where you always sit there to experience peace, love, happiness. If you have an opportunity to go to any meditation place or place where people practice meditation, and that place actually will have this vibration built in, so you can get from it, but you can also create. So we can have this practice of creating a place where we can be peaceful, happy. So whenever you go there, you can actually calm yourself down and started to think about yourself as that original qualities, no? That original quality.
I like that idea, Dr. Murali, because at this current time, you can't just go anywhere. I like the part where you said that find a corner, a space at home, and create the kind of vibrations so that every time you go to that corner, to that space, you feel that peace, and then you slowly work based on that. So that's quite interesting. All right, so let's give you a little rest, Dr. Murali. We'll move on to Mr. G. Mr. G, very interesting question for you too. If you had employees working for you,
right,
your staff working for you, right? What is the one quality or strength you expect to see in them? And what is that one weakness that you wish they will never have?
Okay.
You understand the question?
Well, I perhaps want to ask what is the intention of this question first, because that could be, it's a very wide angle.
Yeah, the intention is to see like potential employers,
right,
or the situation out there where I'm going to expect some kind of success.
right.
What kind of quality do people look out for?
Okay, I know what you mean. Thank you so much, Ms. Amuta.
Yeah.
So I would possibly contextualize this in this current time, that we are mainly working from home a lot. So I would really look for characteristic of people who have optimism and as well as able to be independent. Right?
Optimism and what was the other one?
Independence, to be able to work independently, right? Because we are socially distant. Depends on what industry you're in. You're most likely, if you're like me, you're working from home at least half the time, if not all the time, right? So in such a scenario, what would help me is I'm able to see that you are able to reinterpret the challenges as a positive thing. I want to see that, you know, problems may come, but each one of us interprets it differently. I want to see that quality, the intrinsic quality. That's number one. Number two is I want to see that they are able to be independent, right? Because if they're independent and they are problem solver on their own, then I don't have to worry. You know, they will come to me and then I'm able to guide them. It's okay. But if say, for example, if you want me to hold your hand every single way along the way, I would say it's good, you know, but right now, especially when it's online and everything, it's not as easy, right? So I guess if you say what is the quality that I won't want, is possibly the opposite, right? But I don't think there is one actually, Ms. Hamuta. There's not one that I would say that is not good, that I don't want, unless of course they are completely depressed and you know, always blame other people, always blame the world, always give excuses. Then maybe, you know, or they're liar, no integrity, you know, all this kind of like basic quality that you would expect in a normal person. So I think if you're generally okay in the average band, you know, if you exemplify that you're a person who is able to be an independent problem solver and able to be a contributor to the team, you are also the type of person who would be positive and show a sense of being able to overcome difficulty, you know, and reinterpret it as a positive thing. Then yes, I would think that most employers would really, really like this kind of employees in this particular moment.
So optimism, and also I think it's interdependence, right? So
it's more like independent.
Oh, okay.
Independent. Yeah, of course, there are other qualities that you tell me, okay, good communication skills and the whole thing, right? But I want them to be independent. Means that they can be interdependent. They can approach others if they need to, but they are the person who would be like, they will think, they will solve the problem and they will come back to you. That's okay. You know, I don't want like, Ms. Amuta, how do you do this? Okay. After 5 minutes, Ms. Amuta, I click this button already. This thing happened. You know, what do I do? Okay, you do this. Ms. Amuta, yesterday you told me I forgot already. Can you tell me again? Then I think it will be really hard. For me, I will filter out this criteria as much as possible. If I can get, I'll possibly look at it. Try to notice traces of that.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Murali, those who have worked with you know how efficient you are, despite being so busy with your various roles and responsibilities, right? And the wonderful part here is that you have all these roles, you carry out the roles, and you also give your best. And they're always done at the best quality that you give. So my question here is, how do you manage? Most of us, we do manage. We are juggling various roles, but then we can't give the same level of quality to all the roles that we are playing. We have preference, priorities, but you don't. Like any task given to you, you really give your best. So the question here is, how do you do that? Is it something that all of us can apply in our lives too?
So you want to know the secret, is it?
Yes, of course. Please share the secret with us.
Yes, okay. So the secret actually lies in the topic, today's topic, you know. For me, it's free from worry. You know, like Jean was mentioning, you know, you think about the past, the future, future, then only you will have worry, For me, it's the same thing, but I think it's like this. You know, worry is about, you have worry when you are thinking about the result of the step. What result that you're going to get. It can be from the past, because you see, people tend to worry about the past. But we can ask one question. Can you change the past? We cannot change the past. So why are we worrying about the past? So instead, we need to learn from it so that we don't make the same mistake. Of course, it's an ever-changing world, but that is an experience that we need to learn. So instead of worrying about the past, people cannot come out of it actually sometimes. So number two is that, like what Jean was mentioning, worrying about the future. Do you know your future? Those days, yes, you can make plans, models and everything, But now, no, anything can happen anytime. So we can only plan and prepare. But there's no point worrying, because it can change just like that. And also another aspect that I pay attention is that I need to don't worry about others. So because there's something that we need to know, that we cannot change anyone. You cannot change another person. Everybody is unique. So what I need to do is that I need to accept them as they are. I can motivate them. I can inspire them. I can uplift them. But I cannot change them. Even if they make a mistake, I can tell them, okay, this is something that I feel is not right, according to my standards, So, but I cannot change them. They have to do it on their own. So the key aspect here is that I want to emphasize, that the secret that you were asking was that managing our thoughts is the key element. Managing our thoughts. When we learn about this, when you learn meditation, the basic thing that they teach you, that you have basically 5 types of thoughts, You have positive thoughts, necessary thoughts, ordinary thoughts, waste thoughts, negative thoughts. Now, these thoughts that we create in our mind actually is an energy that we are emitting. And when this thought, when you have positive thoughts, these positive thoughts are actually very slow, very calm. That is why when you are very peaceful, you think slowly. But when you are angry, when you have negative thoughts, you think very fast. One after another. The speed of thought is very fast. So when the speed of thought is very fast, when you start to worry, the speed is very high that you will lose your concentration. It's like using a shotgun and a machine gun. If you have a shotgun, a sniper rifle, you can just aim and shoot exactly there. Machine gun will go everywhere. The bullet will fly everywhere. It's like that. When you have a lot of thoughts coming out from your mind, the speed is so high. And have you ever realized that when you are worrying or when you're thinking a lot, you tend to do things faster? Like example, when you drive. When you worry, you drive faster, When you're upset, you drive faster, because your thoughts are fast, so it reflects in your action, basically. But when you're peaceful, relaxed, you'll be driving very slow and you couldn't be bothered. This is something very, very important that we need to know, because when our concentration is very high, when our speed of our thoughts is very low, then we will not make a lot of mistakes. So you can do a lot of work in a short period of time. And your actions will be very organized, because you can think rationally and decide, rather than. So when you have worry, one thing, that example that comes to my mind, so when we are talking about this worrying part, example, you are going into a forest, right? Walking in a forest. Now you are having in your hand fire. Fire in your hand. So will you worry about wild animals? No, because all wild animals know, don't mess around with fire. Okay, but if you carry a gun, they won't know what's a gun. They may attack you, because they don't know. They have not seen a gun. They don't know how injurious it is. But fire, yes. So same thing. Do I have the ability or capability, to have this fire of remembrance of the divine in the hand of my mind? So I need to have this ability to actually to connect with the divine, to take this energy, and then all my worries will actually be going away slowly, because I have that confidence that I have that energy to go on without any fear, no matter what. Where am I? So that confidence inside me will get rid of this worry. So I need to have this ability. I need to train myself to have the ability to have the remembrance.
Okay.
So I'd like to share with you a few clips, few of
Yeah, please do, Dr. Murali.
Yeah.
I used to be quite sensitive in the past and also quite insecure. If the bus driver was a bit angry, a bit tense, I would feel it. Now, since I learned meditation, definitely not so sensitive now.
How I withdraw from the negative atmosphere around me is actually through the practice of meditation. Because in meditation, we are actually given the practice of controlling the speed of our thoughts.
The concerns that I have during this time is the difficulties to catching up lessons through online. So what I did was, before attend any online classes, either I will meditate to calm down for a while or create a positive attitude by telling myself that I am grateful.
Pandemic has really given me an opportunity and to witness something that I've invested for the past 19 years. It's not financial investment that I'm talking about, but an investment that is even more valuable. I started learning Raj Yoga meditation.
When I first started, there was definitely a lot of uncertainty. Practicing meditation has helped me to understand that being negative or having all this worry, fear, it's not going to solve anything, but it's just going to increase those problems.
So these are some clips that I feel that reflection from.
Most have practiced that meditation. Yeah. I hope later on there's going to be a practical session, I think, with a little experience on how to meditate, perhaps. Dr. Murali? Yeah. All right. Yeah. There is one question here. This is, I think, Dr. Murali, I think you're best to answer because it's about self-respect, and you mentioned about self-respect. I'm well experienced in my current job. Due to the toxic organization, my level of self-respect and confidence has vanished. Any suggestion for that? Should I repeat the question?
Toxic organization.
Toxic organization. I think there should be some issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, some negative vibes going on.
Okay, what is actually happening to address that? Maybe I can share this. You see, this is a world where people are trying to do their best, to achieve their best. You know, everybody has their own way to achieve their target goals. You know? So maybe one or two individuals, their ways and means are very different. It may cross our line and it may become something that can hurt our feelings or become an hindrance in our progress, especially when we are working, you know, in this working life. You know, people call it office politics, right? You know, so all these things can happen. But you see, the most important thing here, like what you mentioned, Samuda, is your self-respect. No, do you value yourself with all the abilities that you have? Or do you value that what people say about you that matters? Of course, public opinion about you is very important.
Yes.
So that may give you appraisal and all these things, you know. But then if that experience, but when you are very honest, very sincere, you know, what actually I practice, I also have gone through this phase of challenges in my life. What do I do is that I actually start to give good wishes and pure feelings to others. I believe in this. You see, where we are like those days we had this cassette player. You know, the cassette player, you just put the cassette and you play. And then you can listen to music, right? And then you can play or you can record, no? You just press record. So when you're recording, you cannot play. When you're playing, you cannot record. It's either one way, right? So now the thing is like this. Either you take or you give. If you are taking negativity from outside, or you are giving positivity from yourself. You see, when I started to give good wishes and pure feelings to everyone, regardless how they are, who they are, what they do, it doesn't matter. I want to give. Because when I am giving, I will not be affected by whatever is coming to me. You see, it's one way, right? So I need to start to give, because you see, sometimes we don't believe that we have the ability to change the environment, the situation, you know. And I strongly believe that I had a friend, actually, my colleague, my colleague. I don't know why. We were sharing the laboratory when we were doing postgraduate. After that, we became colleagues in the university, and he's really not happy with me. Not happy with me. After some time, but I don't interfere in his line, and I just do what I need to do, and I just don't mean harm to anybody. And one day he came to my office and he told me, Murali, I don't know, no. Those days I used to don't like you, But actually I know about it, but I'm not affected by it because I'm always giving. And eventually it turned out that automatically these things that what I was doing changed him. He became very positive towards me. Now we are good friends. I didn't give up. I didn't give up. But I also don't want to take the negativity from outside. I need to pay attention that I must start to give. But the question is that, can I give if I don't have? Can I give good wishes and pure feelings if I don't have? I always have this belief, if your glass is empty, when you top it up, it will become full. When it's full, it automatically overflows. So I need to top up myself. I need to experience peace, love, happiness within myself to such an extent that it overflows. I don't need to give, as per se, I need to overflow. And it will definitely, I can assure you that it has an effect on everybody around.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Murali. We have a lot of questions coming in, but we just don't have the time now. Anyway, thank you so much, Mr. Jean, Dr. Murali. What I learned, personally, I learned that a lot of these things are supposed to be something that I need to go deep down within me, look at all my talents, look at all my skills, and try to look at the present now, see what I can tap on, what I can do, instead of worrying so much about the future, because a lot of things are out of my control. So I'm sure there is going to be some practical experience later on. So thank you so much to the two of you for joining us today, Dr. Murali and Mr. Jean. And we will hand over the time to Ms. Sharon now. Thank you.
A big thank you to our speakers, Dr. Murali and Mr. Jean Kok, for sharing such an invaluable insights on how to tame the three dragons, worry, doubt, and fear. And of course, also thank to Ms. Amuta for being an excellent moderator for the program. We have listened to the discussion, but it's not the end of the program. So I would like to invite Ms. Kim to conduct a mind-empowering session for us. So Ms. Kim is an experienced meditation teacher and practitioner who likes to explore on how the mind works and add fun to meditation. So just sit back and relax and be prepared to go on the journey within. So please welcome Ms. Kim.
Thank you, Ms. Sharon. This is going to be a few minutes of simple exercises. It's going to be fun. All you need to do is just relax, sit back, and you can choose to close your eyes, or you can rest your eyes gently in front on the light that is behind me. And all you need to do is just to follow my thoughts as if you are speaking these thoughts. Okay. So let's start with first allowing myself to relax, and I focus the awareness of the self as being the human and the being. But for now, I am going to pay attention on the awareness of the being, which is the spiritual energy, the energy within this body, the energy that is encapped in this body. And as you have heard, this energy is the one that creates thoughts of worry, thoughts of fear, thoughts of doubt. Now, I am going to re-steer my thoughts by just focusing on the awareness of myself as being a being of peace. I hold this thought of peace and visualize allowing this peace, this wave of peace, to come out from within me. I am the energy of peace. I allow this peace to emerge from me, to flow out from me, letting these waves of peace surrounds me, spreading out. And in this peaceful state, my thought becomes slow. Many other thoughts will come, but I continue to hold on to these thoughts of peace as I watch the other thoughts slowly passing by and letting them go. But I continue to hold this thought, I am a being of peace. As my thoughts slow down and become peaceful, the worrying thoughts reduces, the doubting thoughts reduces, and the thoughts of fear reduces. Because the more when I emerge my peaceful thoughts, I'm a being of peace, I find new qualities emerging together with this peaceful thought. I'm loving the peace, I become a loving being. From love, I find that the energy of compassion is coming out. The energy of confidence is coming out. The energy of courage is emerging from me. When I am peaceful, I find many other qualities emerging from me. And at the same time, I find myself unlimited. I find myself beyond fear, beyond pain, because I, the living energy, cannot be destroyed. I am eternal. I am powerful. When I practice this and hold this awareness, I find that any challenges that comes in front of me, I have the capability, the ability, the creativity, and the resource to deal with it. Because within the self is this powerful source of energy, of courage, of joy, of fearlessness. I am energy of peace. I continue to practice this, especially the first thing when I wake up early in the morning, I tune myself to hearing my inner voice. I'm a peaceful being. I'm a loving being. And then I will only adorn this physical costume of body before I begin my daily role or duties. And the more I practice this, the more confidence I developed, the more faith I have in myself, and I become free from worry. I am the energy of peace, the being of peace. I am the being. I am the Om. I am peace. I am Shanti. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Kim. Welcome back Do you feel the peacefulness? Do you? Yes? No? I believe you enjoy the mind empowering session just now because I could see the glowing eyes and then the smiling lips, even though I don't see you through the video, okay? Because most of you are offing your video, but it's okay. And then you know what? We have a surprise for you. So do you want a surprise? Yes? Yes or no? Can you nod your head? I don't get any response. Okay, I suppose you want some surprise. Okay, let's bring it on.
Because you have the courage to face any situation in life, you have become a real hero for yourself and others.
With the power of clarity, you support others through wisdom and understanding. You are a source of strength and enlightenment.
With the power of positive thoughts, you are confident, ever contented, and never influenced by anyone's negativity. Your peaceful and calm nature makes life easy for everyone and inspires them to develop tolerance and patience.
Your power comes from a mind that is positive, benevolent, and full of good wishes for all.
You see everything in a positive light and focus on the good things in life. This fills your life with great happiness.
With self-respect, nothing can shake you, as you uphold truth and spiritual values in this world.
You appreciate everything you have in your life, and this allows you to face every challenge with your inner peace and inner power. You appreciate life.
Inspirational words by the Brahma Kumaris Malaysia.
So, do you like the dragons that you have chosen and the special good wishes that it carries? Well, I believe you do. Okay, so now some of you must have been wondering, so what's next after this program? Well, we have a program for you to join. So now at the chat box below, you will see a registration link, okay? So you click on the link, and it will be great if you could fill up the registration form for us. And in addition to that, you will also find the follow-up program that I've mentioned to you just now. So on behalf of Brahma Kumaris Malaysia, Malaysia Positive Psychology Association, and Rotary Club of Nilai Central, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining us tonight. And thanks to our two speakers, Dr. Murali and Mr. Jin Kaur, for their invaluable insights. And thanks to Ms. Amuta, thanks to the committee members, thanks to the technical team and everyone. So we have a great time together. Okay, we're looking forward to see you soon. So good night, sweet dreams, and all the best in your future endeavor. Bye.